Just let me know once you see my screen.
Yes, Rick.
Okay. So in previous sessions, what we got is a build artifact. Now we would want this build artifact to publish into different environments. Okay. We want to deploy basically. Uh, what we are working for the project is a web application, right? So I can deploy this into something called app service, Azure app service, or I can deploy into a VM, virtual machine, right? Or I can deploy this into some orchestration services like the Kubernetes, right? So ultimately, uh, you need to deploy this into some location, some target basically. That is what the continuous delivery, right? Continuous delivery is a software deployment, basically what where you'll do build software and that can be released into a production at any time, right? By itself, right? In a set of process, tools, and techniques that enable rapid, reliable, and continuous delivery. So basically, we want to automate all the steps of deployment. We don't want any manual or human intervention to do that work. I don't want somebody to copy the files from my build artifact location to some other location or package like zip or rar or anything and put it in some other location or create some folders. I don't want to do all these things. So I want everything to happen automatically because there is a high possibility of making mistakes if you are doing it through manually, right? So we may forget many things. So that's where uh, if you automate, what is the advantage? We can do it rapidly, and because it is automated and it is more reliable, it is very less chance to error prone basically, right? And continuous delivery of a software. So ultimately, what are the advantages? Better quality, faster delivery, and cheaper, right? These are the advantages. And the 8 principles of continuous delivery, you have to follow these principles basically, right? We have a reliable and repeatable process for releasing and deploying software, right? In a n number of, see, initially you need to spend a lot of time to come up with this proper pipeline, right? How the application should be moved from the build environment to development to QA, then QA to UAT, then probably to the production. Basically, a repeatable process has to be built so that the everybody in the organization can reuse that. And most important thing is the whole process should be automate as much as possible, right? We'll try to maintain least amount of human intervention. Try to automate as much as possible. That will be a huge benefit practically, right? Few things like the verification, maybe the approval part, right? Maybe your summary after your test completion summary, right? So just verify and just approve it, right? And try to see most of the time what happens if something is difficult, they will people will try to drop off that. So in DevOps, if you automate that, that is so fruitful basically in the longer run, right? So that is the so what happens most of the time you'll have multiple branches, right? It will be very difficult to work with all the branches. Now, if you automate that process, it will be very easy for you to maintain basically the release process, right? We keep everything in source control, right? Everything should be in source control because even if you see there is a lot of if some system had crashed or some disaster happened, so anytime there will be a backup for this, so we can get back anything, right? So try to maintain in everything in a version control system. And done means released. What it is done means released, right? You should not stop. Released means released. That's all. And anytime it should be in a release state. Okay. And okay, I thought 5 people have joined today, so I thought all of them have joined. So it's like Vijay has joined 3 times, 3 devices. I don't know. Okay, fine. We see the quality is integrated because it is integrated to CI/CD pipeline, right? So that is the quality is integrated for the process, and we will always try to improve this. We will always responsible for the release process, right? So that is what these are the things which will be implementing for the CD, right? Okay. So when you right click, basically these are just a click away. So that's what we will be doing it. And how can we do that? There are multiple ways to do that, right? Uh, like Azure App Services. Where are you going to deploy? Virtual machines, right? These are the different compute options where we are going to deploy our applications, right? Serverless computing, containers, and all these things are possible. Okay. So these are the things where it will support build source repositories, where it will support and where it will not support all those things. Okay. So ultimately, what we are going to try is this is what we are going to try. So what we have seen, let's start. This one. This is what exactly we are going to do in live. Okay. So there is a version. Boards will be there. Boards are connected to your skill. People will get assigned. This is what we have tried already, right? So now what we have, the output of this is a build artifact, right? These artifacts, these artifacts will be the input for the release pipeline. Basically, from the build, the artifacts will be pulled into release pipeline. And we are going to see this exactly here, what we are seeing. First, what we are going to do, we are going to create a dev environment, right? So for now, we will try to deploy into app service, right? Then we will be creating a QA environment. This is one app service basically, and this is another app service, right? Developers will have access to this and they will be testing, they'll do all those things here. Once that is done, then there is something called some approval process. Okay. Uh, Now, development lead or the senior person, whoever is responsible for that, so he will be reviewing that, then he will approve it or reject it. If this is approved, then automatically go to the next higher stage, which is the next higher stage, which is QA stage, right? Then from QA stage to it will go to the application. We'll bring up these applications automatically. Okay. Then once QA is approved, after verifications, then we will be deploying into production. So there is something called very, very important slotting, right? Slot. So what is the advantage of this? See, now earlier, if you see, they used to receive a message, mail saying that so and so the server will be down because of upgrade, all those things. Now, if you see, imagine the Amazon or Flipkart, right? The number of sales which are going to happen every moment, right? It is huge. If they bring down their servers, then there will be huge loss for the company. So how can they avoid that? There is something called zero downtime. So for that, we'll use something called staging into slot. So first, what we'll do, we will deploy into slot, right? Then there will be another task which will just swap it within no time. For the end user, again, there are different types of deployments. We'll talk about that. Okay. So the beauty of this is everything is zero downtime here. So the end user will not even realize that there is a update happen. So for Google and all, there will be thousands of updates which will happen every day. Are we realizing it? So there is no impact for us, right? We are using as usual because of that load balancing and high availability, because there will be multiple servers which are running. So we'll deploy these things into part by part. Okay, basically place by first 10, then 20, then 30, like that. That's how we can make it like a zero downtime. Any doubt in this before we actually do this practically? This is what we are going to replicate now. Okay, this is where we need your what do you say, your portal, Azure portal. So first environment will go to All this while we are using dev.portal.com. Now we will be using portal.azure.com. Now, whatever you are seeing here, these are called resources. This is cloud, Azure Cloud, what I am accessing right now. Whatever till now we access our source code in the DevOps environment. Okay. So if you have a subscription, then you can continue this. Now you can enable your free subscription. Okay. Here you have something called app services. First, I'll try to deploy into one of the app service. I don't have any app service. I would like to create 3 app services. Okay. They select web apps or web app only, right? Yeah, web app. See here, since I'm in pay as you go mode, for me they'll charge. But for you, once you subscribe, once you enable your free subscription, there will be a free subscription. Select that only. Until and unless if you upgrade your account to pay as you go mode, they will not charge you anything. Don't worry. Okay. So as long as the free is available, you can just utilize that. Okay. What we'll do, some resource group just to group your what to say, Azure resource group. I'll just make. Okay. That is what I don't have. So let me create it. Azure resource group. Just for my understanding, I'll use BH or BH I'll use. So that it will be easy for me saying that this is my group. These are my resources. I'll use this. Okay. And web app name. Try to give some web app name. What you want. I'll say BHA. I'll try to give the same name so that the world app hyphen first we will create a dev environment. Okay. This is what my application. Okay. Then what are you going to publish? As of now, I'm going to publish as a code only. I'm not going publishing into container. Okay. Then runtime, you select whichever your .NET version. I think 8 is ours. Doesn't matter. Whether you want to deploy into Linux or Windows, it is up to you. You can choose whichever you want. Okay. And now we need some pricing plan, basically pricing plan. So I have only one. So when you'll get a new one. What I'll do, AWS, instead of doing this, let's say plan. Okay, I'll use the same plan. Okay, just for my understanding. Okay, okay, that is okay. Issues. I'm just creating an app service here. In what is that? Here you can select. So here you see here 00 free, whatever it is, shared application or whatever so and so amount is calculated. For me, this is enough. Okay, shared infrastructure and deployment. It's okay. Let us go with the default options. Okay, networking also don't enable. Okay, just go with. We need public access because we will be deploying it from our DevOps. Both are two separate things, right? And do you want to monitor? I don't want right now. Just for monitoring, if you enable the monitoring, what happens? The performance, everything will get monitored, and you can get a proactive notifications for the performance basically, right? And if the load is more, it will notify many things, right? Okay. Then next, I'm okay with the default one. Just review and create. This I'm just creating a new app service. I'll create new app service. So this will create a new app service. So now actually a template will get created here. Now it is done. Using this template, you are asking Nacharan, the IaaS infrastructure as a code, right? With using this template, basically we can create the environment. So go to resource.
Okay. But what I was asking is, does creating or configuring pipeline via YAML comes under IAC or no?
Infrastructure as a code, no. See, it depends whether it will come under that or not. Up to the process which companies varies, right? But ultimately what happens, the pipeline which you create, right? So we will be connecting that pipeline to here. So it's a continuous process. Probably you will understand maybe after 1 or 2 sessions. Now we have created our pipeline, right? So that pipeline, we are going to link it here. This is the template. You can see YAML code here. This is it's a big file. This is YAML only. Same YAML you can use using IAC. You can create this using this template file, this YAML file. You can say IAC is okay. For just to simplify your answer, it will come under pipeline only. You can say because both are connected.
Okay.
Okay. Now what we have done, we have created dev environment. Now we will create the QA environment. Okay. App services here. This is what we have created. Create one more app service. Whereas you go mode, I'll select now same group. QA. Okay. And code. It is runtime. Okay. You can select the region whichever you want. And again, pricing, I'll be going with the same one. And few things you may have to monitoring and all we don't want. Because that will charge for that. It's not required now. Just create it. This is going to be QA environment. We'll create one more environment, which is production. This is a live environment which we are creating in Azure Cloud. I'll show you how to access this web application using this environment. Okay, done. Now create one more app service, which is production. I'll select the same production and you can select region, whichever you want. Selected default one, East US. Okay with this. Next, directly I'll jump to monitoring. Don't want this. Review and create. Review is fine. Now I'm going to create it. Let it complete. Now what we are trying to do, we are just trying to set up the environment in Azure portal, right? Now, what we have, Azure DevOps is a separate thing. Now, how do we connect these two? Let it complete. So, just see app services.
Now we go for the prod, or can we go for only dev? Prod is
Yeah. Now dev, production, QA. Now what we want to do, this is what we have done. Now we will do this part. Okay. We have done the setup in Azure portal. Let us create
yes.
environment now. And we have
to do that in
connection.
DevOps portal.
Yes. Your dev.azure.com. First thing, we need to set up a connection between our DevOps portal and Azure portal. Okay. Just give me a second. Just getting. Sorry. So go to the project. This is our project, right? Go to project settings. Here you will find something called service connection. Can you see service connection? Yeah, here. Right now I don't have any service connection, but we need service connection to establish a smooth flow between your Azure portal and your Azure. So this service connection is required to deploy or to connect to any service, not only for Azure. Even if you want to deploy for AWS or GCP, or you want to deploy for a cluster of Kubernetes, you need a set of connection, various types of connections, which we can set up here. Create a service connection. There are a lot of built-in connections. See, AWS for Terraform. You can have Azure, you can have Docker, many things, many service connections. In case if you want Jenkins, you can have something from the Kubernetes, right? Again, in case if you don't have, which you don't have, which is required, just go to browse for market connection, install example AWS. Once you install this toolkit, so you can have a connection. Okay. So these are the different things. Don't think that only it will support only for the Azure to Azure. No, even other platforms also you can use it for your deployments, and so many other places you can deploy wherever you want. Basically, your destination, whichever it is, you can just come and add the respective ones and add it. Let me go back.
So currently, what are we going to use? Jenkins?
Azure Jenkins also I'll take.
Okay.
So let us create. So to connect to Azure, I'll use the ARM, Azure Resource Manager. That's what other template I showed you. Okay. So there are multiple things, but in our case, we'll be using Azure resource manager, right? Most of the resources which we create are based on the ARM template. So we'll be using this. Okay. Next. Again, you have multiple options, right? You can use a service principal automatic, a service principal manual, right? So this is what we are going to use. What is the difference? In case in real-time scenarios, right? What happens? Your DevOps portal account and your Azure portal account, if both are same, then it will take automatically, right? Assume if both are two different accounts, your company may be having one portal account, because for billing and all, most of the time they'll have only single account, but there will be 100 people who will be working on that. So they need separate individual accounts in portal, in Azure DevOps, right? So that way. So most of the time you can um, go with the service principal automatic, because I'm using the same one. So on what basis I'm going to do? I'm going to use subscription, right? So see, because pay as you go mode, so it will double check, right? So I forgot the password. Check. Just give me a second. Okay. Now I logged in. Now I should get all my resource groups what we have created. Okay. And before, see, there will be ID here, 772, right? Make sure the ID should be a correct one. Whatever is the applicable one, you should be using the same one. How to check that? You can check in here, anyone, right? Overview here, 1 EE772. So wherever my app services are deployed, I should be using the here. You need to create the service connection only for that. Every resource under a resource group. Would you like to restrict your resource groups? So you can select this network PH. So we have created one, right? Just now, PH Azure RG, right? I want to restrict to this and give a name here, something. So ESS, underscore the resource group name, something. Okay. And you can give some description, whichever you want. It should be a subscription, basically, something. And here you have an option, grant access permission to all the pipelines, right? We can restrict again, whether you want to use this particular resource by all the pipelines or only the specific ones. Okay. So for now, I'm going to select this. Okay. Save it. You'll see a connection will come here. Then we have our connection. Okay. Now, using this connection, we can, communicate between your DevOps portal and your
And
Azure
the
portal.
resource.
Yes, Azure portal, basically. It can be any resource. So for our case, we have just selected what is that into app service, basically. Clear? Now we just created a connection here. This connection between this and this. We have not yet created the pipeline. So again, here two types we can create. One is classic pipeline, another one is the AML pipeline. Okay. This is where we are going to create our multi-stage pipeline. Okay. Same. Whatever I have explained, same thing, steps are given here. Okay. So I have approvals and dates. I will talk about this later.
So, does it get added into both
QA, prod, and dev, three of them, right? All of them, right? Which is under the specific resource group.
We have to create. I'll show you that how to.
Okay.
In our pipeline, you have to specify basically. So again, the multi-stage, right? Now the multi-stage, why I was talking about is this is one stage. This is another stage. This is another stage. We are going to have 3 stages now. Okay. Now I would like to create a release pipeline. Again, there are 2 ways using your classic or Babel. We'll start our pipelines. First, we'll create a here. These pipelines are done. Now I'm going to create a new release pipeline. Again, you have the opportunity to choose the template where you want to deploy your application. Azure App Service Deployment. This is where I want to deploy, right? Precisely, this is where we have created. If this Java, use the respective one. This Kubernetes, use this, right? We can stop like. See now, the stage is automatically configured and job is also added to it. Connect, right? You have to choose the subscription. Typically, you need to choose the connection which you have created. Previously, just sometime back we created, right? This one. Okay. Now, where do you want to deploy this? Where? This is where you need to choose. First, I
Yeah,
want to
first
deploy
go by
into dev,
dev.
right? It's all inheriting. Same like what we have, right? This is how you can select. Basically, where do you want, under which subscription, under which environment or stage, dev stage, QA stage, or whichever you want. Okay. So this is how. Same, if you want to add multiple tasks, you can just add a task here, whichever you want. You can select whichever you want. Okay. Now go back to your pipeline, right? Now we have just created, but we connected our CI pipeline to CD pipeline. No. So how to connect your CI and CD pipeline? Now we want to deploy the artifact which was generated in the build pipeline. So click on artifact add here. What type of artifact? There are multiple sources again, right? It can be Azure, wherever it is. Right now we are interested only in the build. That's where we have done. Which build you need to select. This is the project. This is the pipelines. I'll select classic. You remember, right? We have created 2 pipelines. So we are getting those 2 here, classic and AML. And which one you want to deploy? The latest one, or you want to have a specific one? Whatever it is, you choose the whichever. I'm okay with the latest one. right? And the drop, everything. Same. Click on add. Now, this is an artifact which will come from my classic pipeline. Okay. Now, the artifact from the classic pipeline into my release pipeline. Let me change this. Local old app services. I'll give this. This is only one stage, right? This is going to deploy into only the my dev environment. Now I want to add one more stage, which is QA. Either you can clone it or you can add one more stage. Your choice. Clone it. Or if you don't want to clone, you can add it from here also. Add a new stage. Either way, it is fine. When I clone, the values of okay, just do the development environment. Okay. This is going to be QA. But what I need to make a change here. This is my QA. Select the QA. Okay. Save it. Pipeline. This is development QA. Now I want to add one more stage. Apply. This is going to be production. Okay. Once you select this production, something is still not there. Task we need to select. This is supposed to be my production. Okay. Something wrong here. What happened? That's selected, right? Give me a second.
G, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute and talking. Sorry. Okay, so this is the basic uh, release pipeline, right? So what happens here, as soon as the CI pipeline is triggered, automatically, if the pipeline is generated the artifacts, those artifacts will get deployed here. Okay. So just create release. We'll talk about that more. Release 1 has been created already. It is queued. See here, queued for agent, waiting for the request to be queued. It is waiting for the agent. It will take automatically. So now it is in progress. Once it is done, it will deploy. Now, if you go here, this is your application web URL. Just try to access now. It will definitely not work here. See here, the service is not available. Just wait and see. After some time, automatically this website will be refreshed with our application once this is done. We have many things to discuss. We have gates, we have approvals, how to add approvals, and what condition you want to deploy, all those things. But just I want to show you today. Let it complete this. So once the development is done, then automatically you can see the logs also here. What is happening? Initialize job is done, download artifacts is done, deploy to Azure App Service is done. Now it is done actually. Now you just refresh your website. See here. Welcome to CI pipeline. This is what we have written initially, right? I hope you remember. The application is done. Now see here, BHA, this is what the URL, right? This is which one? BHA
This
Hello
is
Lab
dev.
dev. Similarly, we can deploy into multiple things. Before deploying into multiple things, I'll show you how to add approvals, gates, and how to enable the CI/CD. Right now, I have created manually, but I don't want to do that also. As soon as some check-in happen, you should go and deploy into my web service. This is my web URL, HTTPS, whatever your Flipkart or whatever it is. This is what we have created in here. This is the app service. Because I deployed in cloud, immediately I got a web URL here. Okay, I'll stop it here. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Gee, I mean, just a small query. We have created a connection between our artifacts, like CA artifacts to dev, QA, and prod. These three, right? And we have our resource environment, and which we have created in Azure portal. Now,
Right.
yeah, when we as the process states, once we are good in the dev, then we'll proceed to QA, and then if we are good in QA, then we'll proceed to prod, right?
Correct.
So you're
So
saying
in
like you'll
between, what happens? There is something called approvals and gates. I cannot blindly go ahead and deploy into QA, or I cannot blindly go ahead and deploy into production. There should be some
Yes, yes,
review mechanism which has to be there. So that's
yes,
where the approvals and gates will come into the picture.
okay,
People will review the result of this. For our case,
yeah,
this is the result basically. My site is
yeah,
fine. I'm checking home is fine. My privacy is okay. All those things.
yes, yeah.
Once I'm happy with this, then only I'll approve as a dev. Then say QA will run their whatever they want. Then they will approve once they satisfy or certify the results. So we'll see that end to end in tomorrow's session.
Yeah, Vijay has some query, I guess. Yeah.
Please also explain the possible interview questions on real-time challenges in each step so that we can answer the sure. I'll include wherever it is applicable. I'll specify that. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow. I have to get into another thing at 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I just want to say that this week and next week, my availability is a bit tentative. So if you guys are okay for the recordings, I'll upload the recordings. Or if you live session, I'm okay with that also. But bit tentative. So availability is very less.
Yeah, anything is fine for me.
Yeah, I'll upload it. You can go through it, the recordings. In case of any doubts, you can always discuss this. If you want to repeat it, I'll repeat it. That is okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Thank you.